Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's just finished. West Ham United 0, Chelsea 1. Now, before we get into the game, I want to have a rant because it's 10, 15 minutes after that red card happened. I am still seething. I am still absolutely raging. I'm trying to remain calm and not swear for the sake of the video. But how that red card has happened, I do not know. Now, before Chelsea fans jump in and stuff, I'm not saying we would have won the game. Okay, I'm not saying we'd have even scored a goal if the red card had not occurred. But I thought we were getting back into it. I thought we had a little bit of momentum. I thought we were looking all right. We were looking like we had a little bit of threat about us. But that red card just killed any chance that we had of getting back into the game. But regardless of the context of the game, regardless of the nature of the game, this could have been 4-0 Chelsea and I would have still have been pissed off. Well, or maybe not have been. But you know what I'm trying to say. How Balbuena has been sent off for that is just outrageous. It is a ridiculous decision. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in the Premier League. Not just because of how he got sent off, but the fact that not one, but two Premier League referees watched that and decided it was a red card. I don't know what he's expected to do. He literally just got sent off for kicking the ball. That's what he's been sent off for. He cleared it. His foot's just going naturally. It goes into the back of Chilwell's calf. As soon as he makes contact with Chilwell, he pulls his foot away and lands in a heap. You watch his eyes. You watch Balbuena. He's cleared it, and his eyes just go with the ball after he's cleared. He probably doesn't even know where Ben Chilwell is. How that is a red card is unbelievable. I'm more angry about that red card than I am about the game itself. But we'll get onto the game in a second. But I know someone will say, get over it. I will, but I can't. Because that type of decision, for a club like West Ham to go 32 games of the season and be in with a shout of the top four, then you get stupid decisions like that, which severely dent a team's chances. It's bordering on corruption, to be honest with you. How that was a red card, I do not know. Now, before I get any further, actually, I'll continue my rant. Gonzo's in the back green screen. He's ready to come on. He's probably had a few beers. He's probably more angry than I am. But honestly, we'll get into the game in a second. But that is just the worst red card I've ever seen because there's VAR. There's a filter to stop referees making incorrect decisions. Cramner didn't even spot it. Oliver said, I think it's a red. He's gone and watched it and went, I think that is a red, actually. There's just no evidence to support that being a red card. I do not understand. If Balbuena had used excessive force, if Balbuena was staring at Chilwell's calf the whole way, I'd maybe understand it. But there's none of that. There's just nothing there to suggest that was a red card. I expect that to be the red card to be rescinded, but that doesn't matter anymore. It's done now, isn't it? Like I said, I don't think we would have got a goal. I don't think we would have gone on to draw the game. But what that did do, that took away our chance of getting back into the game. That removed the last 10, 15 minutes that West Ham had because Moyes was forced to play his third substitution, which was a defensive substitution. Anyway. How are you?
All right, mate. You?
Not very good.
No.
What have you got to say? I want to look at the red card. That's all.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, really. Ridiculous red cards, I've got to say. We just won the ball. You just mentioned that it's going to get rescinded. Of course it's going to get rescinded. It's all our red cards seem to get rescinded. It's just one disaster after another from VAR. And the joke is we went to the pub before and then came back here to watch the game. The boys are in the garden have been watching the game. And we joked about how bad VAR had been. And we were talking earlier about how they probably wouldn't have got away with this without there being COVID and whatnot. Actually, if the fans had been in the grounds for the last 14 months, whatever it's been, it would have forced a review of VAR. But that's not happened. So they keep seeming to be able to get away with this. And look, possibly it wouldn't have cost us the game. Possibly we would have lost that 1-0 anyway. However, you just sort of look at it and you think, well, that was actually quite a close game in the end in terms of the scoreline. And you're absolutely right. It sucked the life out of us and restricted us any momentum we might have had of getting some attacking play going on towards the end, or maybe bringing Yarmolenko on for Bowen, or whatever Moyes might have had it in his mind that he wanted to do. That was completely scuppered by the end. It was just terrible refereeing. I did have to laugh at the end. Mike Dean at the end was the fourth official. But, oh, yeah, brilliant.
I can't believe it. Anyway, you go when you need to go, but let's talk about the highlights of the game now. The first half, Gonzo, what did you make of that before the Chelsea goal? Just the first half while it was 0-0.
I didn't think we were particularly good. that being said, I didn't feel that they threatened us overly. I thought we contained them rather well. I thought Fredericks had done reasonably well in his role there. I would have liked to have seen the ball got to Lingard a little bit more to carry the ball forward. I didn't think we're doing that particularly well, but I couldn't shift from the thought that we're just missing too many good players. And the six of us watching that there, all West Ham fans, and we all sort of thought the same, really.
I thought it was boring. I thought it was a very boring half. I would have liked to have been a neutral watching that. I think, to be fair, I think if you were a neutral, I think you would have switched off during the first half. I thought it was boring, but I was okay with that. I'm not going to lie. I don't think we were good, but I don't think we were bad. I don't think Chelsea were good. I don't think Chelsea were bad either. Both teams were a little bit cagey, a bit nervous, lacking a little bit of quality. I thought Chelsea's tactics were spot on when we had the ball, which was kick Jesse Lingard. They took 2 yellow cards, both for bringing him down. As soon as Jesse Lingard looked like a threat, get him out. And it worked. Unfortunately, in the last couple of games and that, you stopped Jesse Lingard, you stopped West Ham, really. And it's not a good thing. And I think that's probably going to be the theme while we are lacking 1 or 2 other players. And they've done just that. We eventually, I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but we had Lanzini and Ben Ram on the pitch. But again, the thing was the same. You stop Jesse Lingard, you stop West Ham United. Between Ben Ram and Lanzini and Jared Bowen, they didn't create a chance between them. And that's with the focus being on one player in particular. And that's where the 2015-16 team and the focus was on Payet, Lanzini or Antonio, that they'd pop up and say, you focus on him, we'll do the deed over here. And in the first half, I just think we were lacking anything decent going forward, but I don't think we were bad. Chelsea were a little bit lackluster as well. I thought the players were giving their all. There's no question about commitment or anything or that from us. It was just lacking a little bit of something. Fredericks a couple of times peeled away from Azpilicueta, but then you saw that he's not left-footed. You saw that he's right-footed. His crossing wasn't good enough for that, but it's a difficult ask for him. But Chelsea got their goal, Gonzo. A lovely ball into Timo, spun Balbuena, gave it to Pulisic, gave it to Chilwell, pinpoint cross onto Werner's foot, and he just knocked into the back of the net. Yeah,
Balbuena a little bit flat-footed there, we felt, certainly. It was disappointing because we had contained them reasonably well after that. But what we were doing well was almost a validation of David Moyes' organisational system. So that was what that was all about. And I felt we could have kept that up for quite a long time. And I feel the goal was probably avoidable and could have been, and possibly wouldn't have been, conceded during other games. That being said, you can only be as organised as your preparation allows you. What we didn't have was that little bit of spark, that little bit of magic, that little bit of something that was going to allow us to score a goal. And I really do feel that's where we're falling down at the moment, and that's where we're sort of faltering, and that's where our push for the Champions League is going to ultimately, hopefully not, but ultimately fail. It's our inability to score because we've conceded a lot of goals recently, but today I felt we'd sorted the defence out by and large, even taking into account we were missing Masuaku, we were missing Cresswell, and we were missing Dawson, who are all, you would suggest, integral parts of the defence as well. So I do feel today it was our inability to threaten the goalkeeper, which was probably the issue come the end of the game.
I think Ogbonna has to take a large portion of the blame for Chelsea's goal. If Dawson had done what Ogbonna had done, I'd be on here ripping into Craig Dawson for it. He gets spun way too easily. And it wasn't the first time, and it wasn't just Ogbonna. Balbuena got spun a couple of times. Diop got spun a couple of times as well. And Ogbonna gets done on this one, but then he runs after the ball. He leaves where he is and runs after the ball. He's never going to get it, but he runs after him anyway. And then he's completely, as soon as Ogbonna runs for the football, he's completely out of the game. That's him gone. And the ball comes into Werner. He's unmarked because Ogbonna's 10, 15 yards behind him. And this is where it gets a little bit frustrating sometimes, because you look at Chelsea committing fouls and taking 2 bookings for stopping Jesse Lingard. You do wonder if Ogbonna should have done the same as well. I do wonder if Ogbonna, as soon as he got spun and the ball was given to Pulisic, you do wonder if Ogbonna should have just held them and said, well, if I get booked for this, I get booked. But referees often receive play advantage, and as long as the shot occurs at the end of it, they tend not to go back and book the offender. They tend to allow that to go. Because there was one in the second half. I'm clutching at straws here. But I thought Christensen was very lucky not to get a second yellow. He was booked and he went in the back of Jesse Lingard in the second half. But because we had the ball and we continued to play advantage, you could see Lingard, he was furious. He was shouting at the linesman saying, "What are you doing here? Because this guy's just coming in the back of me. It's a booking all day long." And I just wish that Ogbonna was maybe a little bit more, believe it or not, Italian. I just wish Ogbonna had done a bit more of his Italian dirty tricks. We've seen him do it before. Time and time again, Ogbonna does something that's a little bit naughty, but gets away with it. And I just wish today was one of those that he did something that was a bit underhand and risked the yellow card for it. Small margins, but I sympathise with them a little bit because Chelsea had got into decent enough positions before Pulisic and Mount, and their shots weren't really troubling Fabianski. And the one time Ogbonna does risk it, they go and score from it. But the second half, Gonzo, no changes, but we looked a little bit livelier.
Yeah, we did, and we didn't expect any changes actually because that's just not what Moyes does, really. And I certainly feel that he's playing to contain the opposition and with the hope that he is going to score a goal on the break. And I felt that was a possibility, but we sort of did lack a little bit of momentum. Although there was one point I looked at it, we'd had 60% of possession at some point in the second half. And obviously Chelsea had 40% because we'd had 60%. That's just how the maths works, isn't it? We were looking a little bit better. I didn't feel we lacked motivation or anything like that. We just ultimately, Gio, we just lacked that bit of quality really at the end. But we did curtail their quality really quite well, I thought. They got some really good players there, and I thought we did a magnificent job. And I sort of loathe to look forward to next season in that sense because this season there's still so much to play for. But it is with a little bit of regret, I think, that we hadn't got that striker in, mate. I was looking at, we were getting to a certain point up the pitch and I was just thinking, why didn't we just bring a striker in on loan? Why don't we do something? We just absolutely lacked that cutting edge. And I'm not saying we had to bring in a brilliant world-class finisher, but just somebody who actually was a forward, because I felt that was really something that was evident today. We didn't have a proper bona fide trained centre forward on the pitch, and I think it told.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I thought the second half, thought we started to look a little bit better, started to get a bit more confident, but without really troubling Mendy, to be honest with you. Mendy didn't really have a busy game today. I never felt like we were going to score until 15, 20 minutes to go. For some reason, I think we might get a goal here. I just felt like we were getting a bit on top of it. Chelsea were getting a bit nervous. I thought Fredericks was getting the better of Azpilicueta time and time again, but I felt so sorry for Ryan Fredericks actually because he do the hard bit. The hard bit is actually getting past your man. The easy bit is then getting your head up and just passing it. He would do the difficult bit, but then it's on his left foot and you could just see he was a little bit uncomfortable, and you could see in his face that he'd often get cleared or whatever. You'd zoom in on and you could see how disappointed Fredericks was with himself. You could see that the guy's given 110% and he's beating his man time and time again, but it's on his left foot, and I just felt like, we had Masuaku there instead. We had Creswell helping Ryan Fredericks, so Creswell could overlap and get the ball or something. We were just missing one or two players. Got 4 key players out injured, and we had 1 or 2 of them available. Or like you said, another addition in January. You just never know. Today could have been different. I thought Chelsea looked dangerous going forward, in all honesty. I thought defensively, we got off with that a little bit because I thought our keeper was fantastic. I thought that was one of Fabianski's best games for a while. I thought Timo should have made it 2-0. How he's missed that, I don't know. But I thought we got off with it defensively on occasions. But going forward, we made the substitutions. Gonzo, Lanzini and Benrahma come on. I thought we started to get a bit more on the ball. We were knocking about, and it was just, like you said, we were just missing the man in the middle. We've got the ball on the halfway line. We've got the ball 20 yards from Chelsea's box. We've got the ball out right and left. The only area we don't have it is in the 18-yarder because we've got no one to aim for. It's just frustrating because I thought that Chelsea team was there to be got at, to be honest with you. And I felt like we had the intent, we had the drive, the heart, the commitment. We had everything except just the ability to create a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that as well, actually. When Lanzini and Benrahma both came on, they sort of know how each other wants to play. And you certainly felt that Lingard was thinking, hello, yeah, I'll have some of this. I know how to play these triangles, this one-touch stuff. I'll join in with a bit of this as well. And I felt we actually had a little bit more control of the game. And possibly for the first point in it, we looked like we might be able to pass around them or pass through them, if you like. There was And I agreed with the substitutions, actually. Noble and Fornells, we were discussing out there which one of those two should come off, but a long time before the substitutions were actually made. It wasn't quite, the timing of it wasn't quite as proactive as I'd have liked. And I was expecting, obviously before the final substitution was made prior to the red card, I was expecting that Yarmolenko would come on in place of Bowen, and there would be a sort of final hurrah, and we'd have a pop, we'd have some shots, and we'd test the goalkeeper. Alas, it wasn't to be, and I do feel so much that was the full extent and the full limit of what David Moyes and his coaching team can do with the players that they have at their disposal, bearing in mind the limitations of the squad. And that's why I mentioned the other players earlier on. There was, I guess he could have brought Odebeko on or whatever, but I certainly did feel that there was really not an awful lot else for him to do. And he's trying to shuffle the deck, but he ain't got 52 cards, if you know what I mean. So, you know, he's trying to produce an ace and he ends up with a joker out of pack. So ultimately, it would be regrettable if our Champions League pursuit floundered on that, but it does seem to be just get to the end of the season and the injuries have just found us wanting a little bit, mate.
And it finished there, West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. I think it's hard to dissect this game. Sometimes there's an obvious flaw in the tactics or player performance or something. And I don't think that was really there today. I don't think any player had a bad game. I think there's one or two players not quite out of the races, but I don't think there were 3 out of 10 or anything silly like that. There was no individual errors that led to a goal, or there's no own goals like we've seen in recent weeks. You know, we've conceded just one, which is good considering in the last few weeks we've been conceding at least 2 a game, sometimes 3. So some things has got a little bit better, but today we were just lacking that bit of quality, and I think that's what's frustrating, really. And I think this is sort of our, and I don't mean this is a bad thing, I know it's going to come out bad, we've just found this is our sort of true level, if you like, which is, you know, a team that's good enough to compete with the top boys, a team that's good enough to try and contend for a European spot in that. And we have been punching above our weight all season. And today I think we're just found out what we are, which is a really good first 11, but the squad depth is somewhat lacking. And 1 or 2 key injuries can really sort of throw everything up in the air. And most teams are like that. You go to, not Leicester, because they've shown that they can cope without the big players, but you go to Everton and take out Calvin-Lewin and Richarlison, I bet they'd struggle. You go to Villa, well, you see with Villa right now, you take out Jan Grealish and they're struggling completely. So I think today what we've seen is the real level of West Ham, and there's nothing wrong with that. We were competitive against a side that's in the Champions League semi-finals, that's expected to perform better than this next season. I'm proud of the boys today, you know, Gonzo.
Yeah,
I thought they gave it their all. I'm not angry. I'm angry at the red card, but that's it. I'm not angry at the performance. I'm not angry at not even the result, because while the red card spoiled it and it sort of ruined the last 10, 15 minutes, Gonzo, I'm not sure we would have got a point. I'm not sure we would have went and done something. But I do also agree with what you're saying. I think the last substitution would have been Yarmolenko for Bowen. He might have even went extra adventurous and took off someone like Balbuena and went forward at the back and threw Yarmolenko on. He might have done something else. I think Yarmolenko would have come on though, and we would have went for it, and we would have had a chance of getting an equaliser. But the red card spoiled that. But I'm proud of the boys, and that's all there is to it. And what's your thoughts on the game before we get into the individual performers?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm going to have to skedaddle, but what I will say is, it was a bit of a shame. I felt the Cresswell lack of Cresswell injury, whatever, was a bit of a hindrance today, because I never felt when we got those set plays and those corners, and we did have some corners that we really threatened, and they were all a little bit too near to the goalkeeper and sort of unthreatening. Clearly, they played Christensen to get a little bit more height in there. I don't think it was a bad job today at all. I really don't. I'm the same as you. There's nobody to be really cross at. There's nobody to be annoyed at. It just... And we didn't flatter to deceive. We gave a good account of ourselves. We really did. But you look at that today, and with Antonio in the team, or Cresswell, or Rice, and goodness knows, all 3 of them, we'd have really given Chelsea some trouble today. And this is difficult. And Jesse Lingard can only carry the team for so long. and he has done on numerous occasions. But today was a day when really with precious little help around him in terms of from attacking point of view, when most of our good work was done defensively, it was always going to be difficult for him to create some magic. He needed someone around him, and when we've seen it fleetingly, albeit when Lingard has played alongside Antonio, the combination and the understanding between the two has been really good. And it's just something, the fact that we have no backup option, I do feel has really cost us today. Right, I'm going to leave the summing up to you. To be fair, I probably was shouting at the screen so much, I'm not sure I watched it closely enough to give an accurate man of the match. So I'll leave that to you, my friend, and I will see you very, very soon.
Cheers, my man. I think that sums it up really. Unlucky on the day. Individual performance. I think the deal was a little bit shaky at times, but I thought in the second half, I thought he played quite well. I thought Balbuena, bar the goal, played all right. I thought Balbuena played okay as well. Got mugged off for the red card, but I thought Balbuena had a pretty solid game. I thought Fredericks had a funny game, didn't he? He was really good, and then he didn't quite manage to do what he needed to do at the end of it. But again, I can sympathise with that because he's on his weaker side. And I thought Sufal had a quiet game, but not a bad game. Noble and Solchek again was sort of like okay, but without doing anything too much. I thought Fornals was really quiet. I thought Fornals had a poor game in there. We should have had an extra man in that midfield at times. The way that Chelsea play, they play like a 3-4-3, whereas we're playing like a 3-5-2, which would mean that we should have an extra player in centre midfield on occasions. And I never really felt that, which was disappointing. I thought Bowen looked okay. Set pieces aside, I thought he looked all right. Like there was that one key time where he should have played in Jesse Lingard a little bit sooner. But apart from that, I thought he was all right. He worked hard off the ball again. I think Lingard was all right. You've got to sort of perhaps given the benefit of the doubt for the yellow card that Christensen took. Fornals was bombing free towards Chelsea's area. I have to assume that Jesse Lingard would have tried to pick him out, but got brought down. My man of match, though, is Lucas Fabianski. I think Fabianski was unbelievable today. They couldn't do anything for their goal. The sort of tame efforts from Chelsea, if you like, he handled them perfectly fine. He would have been a little bit nervous, Fabianski, after his mistake last week against Newcastle. There was a couple of early crosses he came to contend with, caught them fine enough and stuff. But there was a couple of efforts from Mason Mount in particular. There was one, he makes it look easy, but that's heading into the top corner. That shot from Mason Mount in the second half is heading into the top corner, and he just catches it. He makes it look easy. The first Mason Mount effort where Werner should have got a second goal. He gets a little bit unlucky. He makes a good save with his right hand, but hits his left hand and bobbles down. But I thought Fabianski was fantastic today, to be honest with you. I thought he was really, really good. But it's a frustrating day, and it's overshadowed by the red card, and it should never be like that. It's overshadowed by an official's decision, and I don't think that should ever be the case, especially with VAR. But that is the case here today. Balbuena was red card, not in a million years. How that is a sending off, I don't know. But like I said, I don't think we would have got a point out of that. We might have, but given that Chelsea's defensive side of the game has been ridiculously good, their best, most clean sheets in European football, the top 5 leagues in European football, they're at the top defensively. And it's no surprise, they're very well organised, they're hard to break down. We saw that. They defended in numbers. They were time wasting. They played the game very, very well today, Chelsea. With the fouls on Jesse Lingard, their keeper getting booked for time wasting. They had it tried to hold it in the corner up and stuff. They were really, really good game management from Chelsea today. And we just got done by it, really. And it's not a bad thing. Our last 5 fixtures, Burnley, Everton, Brighton, West Brom and Southampton. If we want Champions League, we need 5 wins. We need 5 wins. That's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. The only thing we can't do is finish 8th. We've got to finish 7th and try and get European football for next season. I know a lot of people will poo-poo the Europa Conference League. I won't. I'll have the Europa Conference League. The European football, lack of European football would be a disappointment. But we've had a fantastic season. As for Saïd Benrahma, it's difficult. I don't think he did enough when he came on. I don't think he did enough, and it sort of justifies more. He's not giving him more and more minutes. I think he's definitely got the ability. We know he's got the ability, but sometimes when you look at Newcastle the last 3 weeks, Joe Willock, not quite in a similar position, Benrahma. He's come off the bench. and he's scored goals. He's influenced it. Steve Bruce has to start Joe Willock now. Saeed Benrahma's not done that for us yet. We bring him on. We say, go on, influence the game. And it's been a while since he's done that. And that's where it's sort of like, it's a bit frustrating and why he won't start against Burnley next weekend. But anyway, I'm going to disappear. Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm angry at the red card. That's about it. But I think the boys gave their all today. I'm proud of the boys. I think today we found our level. That's it. And that's not a bad thing. You know, it's immense progression from where we were. This fixture last season, we won 3-2 to stay in the Premier League, to start our run of form that kept us in the Premier League. This fixture today was to try and stay in the chase for Champions League football. The transformation in 12 months has been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And we might fall short of the Champions League. The dream is not over yet, but it's dwindling. But the fact is, there's 5 games to go, and we're still in the running for European football, of any sort of European football. It's just a humongous credit to Moyes, the management team, and the players. So anyway, Burnley next week. Disappointing today for West Ham fans, but we go again next week. And when I say we go again, I think we will. And we might have 1 or 2 players back, which will make a huge, huge difference for us. Because I think it was just 1 or 2 injuries too many. Anyway, if you enjoyed this review, drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you tomorrow.